Hello, I'm Vink and this is Vink Studio, but I'm not alone here today. I invited artists to pick a piece of advice they want to share with you, and let me tell you, these are some good tips. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Hi, I'm Nerd, and I'm here to tell y'all don't be afraid of using gradient maps. If it looks better for you, do it. Look at this drawing I made before the gradient maps and with gradient maps. I love adding it on all my drawings, so I really recommend it. Don't ever think that it's cheating. Art has no rules, remember that.
Hey there, I'm Zoe, or AQUASPIDERART, and my art tip is this: expand your visual library. Now, what do I mean by this? What even is a visual library? Well, your visual library is all the visual data and information that exists within your brain. The library is a helpful metaphor for how memory works. In a library, it's unlikely that every single book is being read at all times. However, all the books exist so that at any point, someone can come along and read them. The greater variety of books, the easier it is for a reader to find what they're looking for. You can think of your own visual library in this way. Every bit of visual data you've ever experienced, whether it was reading a picture book, watching TV, looking at other people's art, or even just living your life normally, this all exists somewhere in your brain for you to access for making your art. Expanding your visual library means exposing yourself to new experiences, both in life and in media, so that your brain has more ideas to pull from when you start creating. Personally, I find lots of inspiration for art on social media. Following other artists gives me lots of visual data and ideas to work with. However, simply liking art might not help you remember it. I recommend also saving posts that you like. Whether you save posts with a built-in feature on a website of your choice, or you literally save images into folders directly onto your computer or phone, this will help you not just see something cool, but let you revisit it whenever you want. Personally, I mainly use Tumblr for this function. I have a reblog blog where I keep pretty much every bit of art I've ever liked on the platform. I don't just save these, I also sort them, so I can sort these posts into different bins for when I want certain types of inspiration. My most common tags are character ideas, background ideas, and object ideas. Going through my archive of my blog allows me to revisit anything I found interesting, and helps keep my visual library not just in my head, but somewhere I can share with others. Of course, consuming media is not the only way you should expand your visual library. The most interesting advice I received when going to college for art was to make sure you spend time living your regular life. You can, of course, go on wild adventures, like going on big road trips or visiting big cities. These will definitely give you lots of new inspiration. However, don't think that you need to take a vacation or spend lots of money just to expand your visual library. You can do something very simple, like going for a walk outside, visiting a local park, studying the way your friends or neighbors dress or hold themselves, observe local wildlife, and more. Don't limit yourself to just what seems beautiful or artistic on the face, either. Inspiration doesn't have to just be the glamorous stuff. You can find it in the boring, the mundane, or the ugly things in life too. Look at everyday birds outside. Take time to notice cracks in the sidewalk. Think about how that hoodie sits on your shoulders. The greatest revelation any artist can have is to realize that inspiration can come from literally anywhere. By approaching anything with the angle that it can be new data, new fodder for your brain to turn into art, this is the exercise that allows you to expand your visual library. This might have gotten a little philosophical, but hey, that's the point. Your brain and your memories are important, not just as an artist, but as someone living on this planet in general. Take the time to observe, study, and appreciate what's around you. Approach your life with childlike wonder. Catalog the things you find especially interesting. These steps will stretch your creative muscles and allow you to make even better art. Now go out there and make some art!
I think it's time for a very important reminder. This doesn't equal this. It is easy to fall into thinking that likes and views you get in social media are some kind of indicator of your artistic skills. I mean, of course we follow other artists that we think are skilled and want to see more of their art for that reason, but that isn't exactly the whole picture. Algorithms are most of the time pretty unpredictable things. Sometimes they help fellow artists go viral and get more likes and views for their art. Sometimes they totally teach us and leave us begging for crumbs. Either way, I think we are too fond of pleasing them. There are many ways to pursue this kind of fame, like popular art trends and challenges. While they can also be good practice for your skills, there are always some downsides. If you start making art just for likes and views, it can quickly start draining your creativity. Trying to attract an even bigger audience, it's easy to start losing your originality and instead start making art only to other people's liking. It can be frustrating when your art doesn't get noticed by that many people. I get that. After all, you used a long time making it and would love to hear what other people think about it. But I don't think you started making art just for fame, right? So, next time when you feel like you're a bad artist for not having that many likes and views, try remembering what got you into creating art in the first place. Also, finding a nice and supportive art community is always way better than trying desperately to chase those faceless numbers.
Hello, it's Etta here, and my quote was, change the color of your line art and don't overthink the process. So let me elaborate. As you can see, I'm just really sketching and doodling right now, but I want you to know that I had a long time in a year where I didn't touch my sketchbook or a tablet or anything that is art related because I was always overthinking. I always thought that art was a chore instead of something that I can really be free and experiment with. And I've always really struggled with staying consistently, on the grind or like on the streak of like drawing. The thing is, it's not about a streak and it's not about the grind. It all comes down to how much you enjoy drawing and how much drawing gives joy to you. And I think I've recently started to come back. I've started to experiment more, and one of the experiments was basically changing a line art. So as you can see, I do like a little sketch, and then I start doing line art on top of that sketch. So having like a darker color than a base color, and then having like a slightly toned, like different tone of color and slightly lighter color than the darker color line art on top. And it really makes the color pop. And I just recommend playing with color because I feel like color is like one of the things that really got me out of art block and got me out of like overthinking. I was like, oh my gosh, what does this color do with this color? It just makes me really excited, makes me really happy. And so I think experimenting with color and obviously like different shapes as well, maybe that would help you. But what I'm trying to say is don't overthink it and be open to experimenting in art because that's where you find the fun, for me at least. I also use the color line art method for my new persona that I'm going to be revealing this week. So I'm so excited for that.
Hello, it's me, GATSBY, from GATSKIN, and this is an urgent message. When you're drawing, especially if you find yourself drawing for extended periods of time, take breaks and stretch. I mean it. Seriously. Stretching your wrists and other parts of the body helps prevent repetitive strain injuries like carpal tunnel and tendinitis. Doing things like wrist circles and finger splays are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to keeping your wrist and hands safe from fatigue. Outside of stretching, you can even look into hand grip exercises to help toughen up those muscles. Even taking steps to improve the ergonomics of your workspace can do wonders for your health. But most importantly, listen to your body. If your hands are hurting, don't push yourself. Just take a break. Drawing is hard enough already. Let's not make it worse by adding carpal tunnel to the list of things you have to worry about. Now would be a great time to cut to the next artist.
So when you're drawing, I highly recommend zooming the shit out of a canvas and squinting your eyes. So what this does is it lets you see if your composition and values are cohesive or not, and also especially as beginner artist, you tend to get lost in the sauce and try to perfect every little detail, which in turn makes the bigger picture look so much worse. So zooming out and squinting is an amazing way to see if you are getting your idea through in its simplest form, because you don't see the tiny details, you just see the big picture, well, in its simplest form.
Gather all of your favorite artists into a pile and nitpick things that you like the most about their art and make that your own style. Oh hey, you like the way they draw their eyes? Do it the same way. You like the way they draw their line art? Do it the same way. Doing this will slowly create your own art style that is completely unique to you. I've noticed myself by just consuming media for long periods of time, I slowly just start developing my style to be slightly like whatever media I'm consuming, and it just becomes more unique to me. I am the only one who draws the way I do, and you are the only one who draws the way you do. You already have a unique style.
This is a hen. I'm sure you know that, or not, maybe you're an alien, I don't know. It's an artist's worst nightmare. But let me show you how I tackle this piece. First, just literally draw whatever you can comprehend when you look at the shape. It might look like nothing right now. It might look like a hot mess, but at least we got something to work off of. We can still make this look good. Hopefully, if we're lucky. My point is, make it exist first, you can make it look good later. I love this advice so much because you can apply it to many aspects of being an artist. Like, if you have ideas for a project, but you're so focused on making it perfect, so much so that you're so afraid to start, just make it exist first and you can make it good later. Just start putting your ideas on paper or canvas, and you can always edit it later. You know, you can always put like new information or research later. Even if you have like teeny tiny ideas, you know, don't have that many, you just put it on paper. Maybe seeing it on paper in real life or, you know, screen, whatever, that can like lead you to more ideas, you know? To be honest, I have my own version of the quote. Instead of make it look good, it's make it until I feel good about it. If I reach a point where I'm like, you know what, this is good enough, I'm fine with it, I'll stop working on that part and I move on to the next one. The important thing here is to start. So I want you to go and start whatever project you wanted to do now. Yes, that's what you're gonna do. And while you're at it, you better go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. I'm just kidding, you don't have to do that part. But you better go start that project now.
If you're drawing and you hit a wall, whether it be art block, lack of motivation, or you're just not vibing with it, take a step back and retry later. Sure, there's a chance you'll break through if you keep slamming into that wall, but now you're also injured and even more tired. Metaphorically, of course. With some rest and thought, you'll come back with the tools and energy to help break through better.
I like eating art, you like eating art. Huh?
Yes, you!
But just like a 5-star meal, we have to savor it. So the next time you see an amazing art piece, ask yourself, what makes this piece so good? Is it the line art? What about the color? Or maybe it's the shading or shape language. Whatever it is, isolating those variables and even practicing them yourself is one step closer to having a clear imagination of what you want your art to be like. Because let's be honest, a clear art goal is much more solid than a blurry one.
When I was first starting out on art and watching YouTube tutorials, a common tip I heard was to never shade with black. I feel like this wasn't elaborated well in the videos I watched since I took it very literally, and looking back now I can see that what they really meant was to not slap some black with an airbrush and call it a day, but I'd like to reject both of these ideas. There are plenty of ways to shade, and using black is actually a great method of doing so. For example, mangas are almost always drawn in black and white, and mangakas will use cell shading, cross-hatching, gradients, and screen tones for details. Western action comics, on the other hand, are fully colored and rendered, but they still use black to shade too. Western comic artists can have very different ways of incorporating black in their work, but some consistencies I've noticed and taken from my own style is to use black for all of my shading except for anything that's either white or skin, except for maybe the cast shadow on the neck. Additionally, if I'm drawing black clothing, I'll typically color it fully in black and use dark blue for the lighting, with some pink as a secondary light source. You can use different hues as you please, but I stick with blue or purple for a more comic-like look. But Lux, what if I want to shade with a black airbrush? I've seen a good amount of artists who do this to give their drawings a more murky and muddy look on purpose. This works for them as they already have a good understanding of how light and shadows work, while beginners typically don't, and it's why they're not recommended to use this method. In conclusion, shading with black is actually pretty cool so long as you have a basic understanding of how shadows work, look at other artists for inspiration, and keep experimenting to find out what works for you.
A very underrated tip I would recommend to a beginner artist is to make idea boards for your artworks. When I was younger, it was pretty hard for me to make super original artworks. I mean, it wasn't hard to be original, but it always looked like a mess. So I went on Pinterest. We all love our dear Pinterest, don't we? What issue I came to, however, was that either I got stuck in a loop of keep finding so much good ideas, I got overwhelmed, or I very much copied someone's idea to a T. That's why I very recommend making idea mood boards. I usually use Milanote, but I'm sure there are plenty of programs if that wouldn't be to your liking. These mood boards don't have to be super detailed or, well, pretty, but it helps you actually visualize what you want and how you want it. You can use some easy templates and just add your pictures. You can also add some notes and colors and whatever. You can get fancy if you want. Now, let me turn this idea mood board into this. Not bad, huh?
It is not always easy to think up ideas. Originality is demanded from many of us, and even offline, we can be ridiculed or our work seen as less impressive if people decide it's not original enough. I truly believe that as a beginner, an insatiable thirst for originality above all else will only sully your art for love. I have aphantasia. I cannot picture things in my mind. I only think and ideate in words, and it makes it hard for me to have fresh ideas that look good to me when I draw them. You have probably heard the advice of art studies to build your visual library, but before you reach the point of a vast visual library, if you're able to visualize as easily, what would you do? Only studies? And what if, while you do your studies, you change the subject? Maybe study the lighting and posture of the piece while changing the character. Fan art, or maybe even your OC, or participating in art trend or TikTok animation meme trend, so you do not have to focus on making it wholly unique. I can say with certainty that almost all of my art pieces have taken reference for something. My greatest issue is posing, and references are the best solution to that. Maybe yours is composition or lighting or even anatomy. References will make the process all the more easier. Even in character design, though I'm not that good in that aspect, references are very helpful. In the background, I have been designing a new OC of mine that I had several ideas for but needed the help of references to bring to life. And the design is all the more better for it, as you can see. Copying is another thing, of course, but I hope my words and the example on screen show the difference between copying and claiming as your own, and the very needed and wonderful tool of referencing.
I know better than anyone what it's like to wait for motivation or as existential dread to get yourself moving. Complete everything in one go, albeit at the cost of quality, and feel a mix of accomplishment and guilt at the end of your work. Consistent small efforts work so much better. Even if it's only 10 minutes every day, if you can manage those 10 minutes, you'll compound and develop what you've been working on and see that progress over time. Also, it's way less stressful. Making yourself commit will probably be a bit difficult, but I promise you it's worth it.
Hello everyone, my name is TJNEKU, and for my section of this video, I want to stress just how important it is to actually finish your projects until the very end. What do I mean by that? As someone who struggles with finishing projects and perfectionism and getting excited about new projects quickly, there are a plethora of artworks that are left unfinished in my gallery. And the issue with that is that I don't go through the latter stages of my projects, which in turn make me not learn the steps associated with that. Think polishing, detailing, rendering, or simply getting ready to post something. It is said that the final 20% of a project can take up to 80% of the time, and training yourself to go every step of the way without abandoning a project will help you become more resilient and efficient in your workflow. It will also benefit you by taking steps that may be outside of your comfort zone, even if it feels challenging. That is to say, if you are struggling with finishing a project, take a couple hours to step away or ask a friend for feedback to gain a new perspective on something you might be stuck on. I have a video on my channel that goes into more detail about this if you want to know more. But until then, finish your whips, have courage, and I'll see you in the next one.
I normally don't talk about it, but I hate doing art studies. Figure sketching, perspective studies take that away from me. They are extremely helpful, but also extremely boring. So here is my tip. Include your OC in your studies. For example, take a famous painting and paint your OCs as the subject of it. Not only you study perspective, colors, anatomy, but also you have a fun little painting of your characters. It's a study inside a study. You do all that, but also you have to adjust the colors, their body type, their clothing style maybe as well. It's my favorite way of studying. Let me know if you tried it before or if you are going to. And with that, the video is actually over. I must say how happy I am with the results. Everyone did so well, and these tips are so relevant, not only for beginners, but also later in the journey. It's nice to come back to them and remind yourself. Huge thank you to everyone working on this video, and I want to thank Lee for inviting me to the Discord server. Community is my favorite part about art, and you guys give me that. I am so happy to be a part of it. Make sure to check out everyone's channels. Links are down below in the description of this video. And that's all for me today. No, that's all from me today. That's all from me today. Bye.